Welcome back to Defy the Odds. We have such a fun episode for you today. So much has happened in my life since I talked to you last, which was really like 5 days ago, but I have a huge life update to share with you. And there's a whole backstory that I want to get into as well. So let's just go ahead and dive in. So, since the last episode, I have moved. I am now living in a new apartment. And this isn't just any apartment, this is my dream apartment. And I'm not exaggerating. I have been consciously, intentionally manifesting this apartment for 4 years, 4 freaking years. And it's finally here. The first night that I moved in, which was Tuesday evening, I'm recording this on Thursday, so I've been here for 2 days. On Tuesday night, I was sitting on my couch and I was looking out my windows and looking at the twinkle lights on the trees and the skyline. And I was like, oh my gosh, Ashley, you did it. You've manifested the apartment you've been visualizing and dreaming about, and it's finally here. I want to tell you this story though, because it wasn't like I had the vision for this apartment 6 months ago and it's here. It has been 4 freaking years. That's a long time. And if you are someone who wants to defy the odds, who wants to create an extraordinary life for yourself, who wants to build a six-figure and multi-six-figure business, sometimes it takes time. Sometimes the universe has to rearrange itself. Sometimes you have to grow into the person who is capable of holding the thing that you desire. So let's rewind December of 2019. And I know that this is exactly when I first had this vision because I have it written down. I have it written down in a journal because every December I do a visualization exercise where I project myself 1 year into the future. And so I'm sitting there and I'm imagining myself 1 year from now, which would have been December of 2020. I'm like, Ashley, where are you? What is your life looking like 1 year from now? And in that visualization in 2019, I met my future self in this apartment. In that visualization, I walked down a busy city sidewalk to a high rise building. I went inside, took the elevator up, knocked on the door, and walked into a beautiful 1 bedroom apartment with a city skyline view. In my journal, I have it written down that it is a bright white apartment. And I remember the layout. I remember how the furniture was set up. I remember every little detail. And that was where I thought I would be in December of 2020. Now, in December of 2020, my life had changed drastically. As you know, I'd already had my first 10K month in business. I had manifested a relationship that I was in love with. Like, life was really good. I actually had manifested an apartment, but it wasn't the one from my visualization. And it wasn't until I was moving to Chicago in 2022 when I started getting really clear and remembering that vision from 2019. Because before that, I was living in Austin, Texas, and I could have gotten a high rise apartment there, but I knew that that wasn't the city the visualization was from. And so it didn't quite feel right until I moved to Chicago. But when I first moved to Chicago and I was looking at apartments, I knew I wanted to be downtown because I knew I wanted that high rise view. But I couldn't afford a 1 bedroom apartment like the one in my visualization. And even with that, we can look at there's a mindset thing there because what does it mean to even really be able to afford something, right? But based off of my income, what I qualified for was what they call a convertible apartment. So I had a little bedroom, but it didn't have a door. It just had a half wall between the bedroom and the living room. And it was a tiny little apartment, like 500 square feet. But I was living in the city. I was living in a high rise. I had the view. I had the view from the visualization, but the apartment wasn't exactly right. But I was happy. I thought I've made it. And then when that lease ended, I moved into a different apartment in the same building, a little bit of an upgrade, more square footage, even better view, but still not the apartment from the visualization. Still not exactly right. And then last week, there was a major water leak in my building. We're talking 7 floors are flooded. There's water damage. They're ripping the floors out. They're taking baseboards off, right? It was a big deal. And I went to the office and I was talking to them about all of the repairs that they were doing. And I was like, you know what? I think my lease is up in March. So we still have some time, but I'm noticing that there's some apartments available. Like, would it be possible for me to just move now? They're like, yeah, we can make that work because I was going to be misplaced from my apartment during the repairs anyway. And I looked and there was a 1 bedroom available. And it was only $50 more than my current rent for a bigger apartment, the dream apartment, bigger kitchen, more windows, better view, like all the things. I was like, that's it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm in 100%. This conversation happened a week ago today. A week ago, I was in that office asking about this apartment, and now I'm sitting here on the couch in my new apartment, fully moved in. Your life can change so quickly if you let it, if you're open to it, if you don't get in your head about it, if you just take the chance and leap. As I was moving in, I hadn't even realized that this was the dream apartment until the first night that all my stuff was in here. And I was sitting on the couch looking out the window and I was like, holy crap, I did it. I had some girlfriends over last night and I was telling them, this is my dream apartment. This is the apartment that I have been manifesting for 4 years. And I think that so often we have these dreams or these visions for ourselves. And if they don't happen right away, we either feel like it's never going to work, we feel disappointed. And so we build up blocks, walls, we shut ourselves off because we don't want to feel sad. We don't want to feel like maybe something's wrong with us. Why was I so stupid to even think that was possible for me? I guess it's not meant to be. I guess I'm not worthy. I guess I'm not good enough. Other people can have that, but I can't, right? It's so easy to let those limiting beliefs come in. And when that happens, really what's going on is you're lowering your frequency. You are lowering your energetic vibration. And we attract whatever we are putting out there. So we have to be really careful not to let our frequency drop when our manifestations don't appear on the timeline that we want. The same thing, same storyline with my business. 2018, 2019, I am working in a retail store. When I first started, I was making $11 an hour. Then I got promoted to assistant manager and I was making $13 an hour. And I was walking around that store telling myself, I own a 6-figure business. I own a 6-figure business. And I didn't have a business, but I was telling myself that and I was feeling the frequency of that. But at that point in time, I could not have held a 6-figure business. I didn't have the online presence. I didn't have the audience. I didn't have the offers and the products for sale. I didn't have the emotional intelligence to be able to handle clients in my world. And so it took time up until 2021 when I did have a six-figure business, but it took those few years for me to grow into the person who was capable of manifesting that. And it also took time for the universe to rearrange itself, right? Sometimes things don't appear on the timeline that we want with our human mind and our human version of time. Yes, things can happen in an instant. Yes, you can make six figures in the next minute, right? Anything is possible. But sometimes it takes time. And so when it takes time, there becomes this gap. There becomes the version of you in this moment right now, today, who you are today, and the version of you in the future and what you want, right? So there was the version of me working in retail, making $13 an hour, saying I owned a six-figure business. And then there was the version of me who owns the six-figure business. But in between, there is a gap. And we don't always know how big or long that gap will be. There was the version of me in December of 2019 that wrote down, I'm living in a beautiful white light apartment with a view of the city. And there is a version of me today who lives in that apartment. There was a gap in between. There was a void. There was the time it took for you to walk out the path. So in that gap, in that void, as you're walking out the path, can you stay on course? Can you trust that it is happening? That the gears are turning behind the scenes, that the universe is moving the chess pieces in alignment with exactly what you want, that it is all working out for you. And not knock yourself out because it didn't happen the exact date you wanted it to. The same thing in our businesses when we're launching a program. You have an idea for a program, you're so excited for it. You say, I want 10 people to sign up. I would love 10 people. And you launch it and you're talking about it and you're selling it and you're hearing crickets. You're like, where are all the people? Why is nobody interested in this? Can you keep going? Can you keep walking down the path? Because you are not in charge. You cannot control when those people decide to buy, who decides to buy, what they decide to buy. You can't control that. But if you get freaked out because nobody's signing up for your program right away, and you decide, oh, this is a bad idea, I shouldn't do this, maybe my messaging is off, maybe I should just pull the plug on this and stop talking about it, I'll launch something else next month. Or you think, oh, I'm just not cut out for it, right? You have to stay the course. You have to keep going. You have to trust. And if you do, eventually you will have those 10 people. It might not be this launch. It might not be your next launch. It could be a launch 4 years from now. It took me 4 years to manifest this apartment. It took me 2 years to manifest a six-figure business from the time I was actively manifesting it, creating it. What is your staying power? Are you invested in this? Your staying power is everything. What are you allowing to knock you out? What are you allowing to knock you off course? What are you allowing to lower your frequency? How committed are you? How devoted are you to this? How badly do you want it? And when I say that, I don't mean you have to get all grippy and you have to do it from a place of misalignment and overwork yourself and burn out. But like, what if it took 4 years for you to hit that goal that you have? What if it took 4 years for you to hit a six-figure business? What if it took 4 years for you to sign your first client? What if it took 4 years for you to manifest your dream apartment? Are you in it? Are you going to keep going? Because if you are, eventually it will come. But you have to stay in it. I have a whole manifestation process that I want to share with you, but I'm going to save that for the next episode. So for now, I want you to start dreaming. What do you want? What do you want to manifest? Like, what do you actually want? This is one of the most important questions. What do you want? If nothing was wrong, what would you want? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you want? If nobody would be mad at you, what would you want? Really get to know yourself, and not the things you think you should want, not the things that you think would look good because other people want them, but what do you actually want? What lights you up? What makes you feel alive? What turns you on? What makes you feel like you're living the best life possible for yourself? What do you want? Get clear on that, because in the next episode, I'm going to teach you my manifestation process, and we're going to manifest that thing into your life. Thank you all so much for being here. Be sure to follow and subscribe on Spotify and iTunes. If you liked this episode, please share it on Instagram and tag me, and I will reshare your story. I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.